Jumbo, man, when you hear that sound, that's the sound of my juice harp. That's in honor of my pop, grow something. You know it's storytelling time on Groundings. And my name is Brother Nasheed Ali, and I'm the storyteller for peace inside Black life. And I come to you every Sunday, me and my juice harp and maybe my drum. And, oh man, I just come to you with stories at grounding, elevations and evolutions. As we elevate, we evolve, and as we evolve, we elevate, but we keep our feet and our heart and our minds grounded. That's what groundings are. Every Sunday, 6 o'clock in the village, everybody used to gather around to hear Pop Grow Something tell his story. And now, man, Pop Grow Something is on WURD TV telling his story. 6 o'clock. All the village would be around, and Pop Grow Something would be blowing his harp, and he would, and they called him Pop Grow Something. Don't let me go past that. They called him Pop Grow Something because he was always in his yard growing something, and he always had pearls of good things to say to the village to help them evolve and elevate. Tonight, they came around, and Pop Grow Something was blowing. And as he watched them gather, he said, come, let me tell you. He said, another storyteller has passed. And the village said, another storyteller, Pop, has gone home to glory. Who is it? Who is it? And he said, Hank Aaron. He said, Hank Aaron is a storyteller? Well, he was a ball player, but he had a lot of stories. And he lived to be 86. He lived to be a wise Black man. And he died in his sleep. Now, they say he died right after he got that COVID shot, a couple of days after, but that's a whole different story. But Pop Bro something said Hank Aaron came up the hard way, and he came up the honest way. He came up through the Negro Leagues. And in the Negro Leagues, they had a whole bunch of superstars who did everything with that baseball and that bat. And Hank Aaron was a young boy in Alabama, and he would study the Negro League players. And he said, one day I want to be a Negro League player. And yes, indeed, he became a Negro League player, and he was good. And one of his people, one of his teachers was Jackie Robinson. And everybody knows who Jack was. Jack was the first black man to integrate the Major League Baseball. I don't know if that was a good move or not, because we had our own league, and it was our own. But they picked Jackie, and when they picked Jackie, they said, there's got to be some others. And they picked a couple of them, Junior Gilliam, Larry Doby, and Hank Aaron. Man, I remember when I was a child, I used to see Hank Aaron on the home run derby. He would pick up that bat and he would tell us how to hold that bat so he could hit a home run. And it was so smooth. He was just hitting them over the field. He won some money on that home run derby. Well, he went to Milwaukee, the Milwaukee Braves, and then the Milwaukee Braves moved to Atlanta. And Hank Aaron also moved to Atlanta with him. And he kept hitting the home runs, hitting the home runs, hitting the home runs. And he kept saying to himself what he was taught and what we all should be taught. But what he was taught was that, look, I'm in the major leagues, but I still got to be twice as better as the man next to me. And that's what he was, twice, 3 times, until he went and hit so many home runs that he surpassed their idol. The Major League's idol was Babe Ruth, man. Hank Aaron hit that ball so far, he went past the record of home runs, and they thought that Babe Ruth's record couldn't be broken. And to be broken by a black man from the Negro Leagues, oh my goodness, everybody was upset. They was giving him all kinds of hate. Ma'am, I hate you. You know, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill your family for beating Babe Ruth's record. But that didn't deter him at all. That didn't stop Hank. Hank still kept on. They called him Hammering Hank until he ended his career in the major leagues. But listen here, Hank Aaron was just one of many of our heroes in the community. I remember 22nd and Lehigh, 27th and Montgomery, let me go there. They had a nice wall. It was a wall, and that wall was 3 stories. And we had these balls that was filled with air. And we cut the ball in half, and we played half ball.
Half ball.
We pitched that ball, and that ball could curve if you could do it right. But we all wanted to be, guess who? Hank Aaron. When we got up there and hit, we said, we're going to hit the ball like Hank Aaron. It was only a half ball, and there was a wall. You need a wall, and you need a stick. I know I used to get beatings a lot. My mama said, why are you cutting up my broomstick? Because it was a nice handle. It was a nice stick. Man, I cut up so many of my mama's brooms. I got them still today. So we went out there with the half balls and the stick and the wall. And the bottom part of the wall, the bottom part was a single. The middle part was a double. The edge of the roof, see that roof? The edge of the roof, man. It was a triple.
And on the roof was a home run.
On the roof, as peaceful as can be, up on the roof was a home run. Man, when I got up there, all I could think was Hank Aaron. I took that broomstick, he pitched that ball, and I knew how to hit it up on the roof. I was the home run champ because I wanted to be like my hero, a black man, hammering Hank Aaron. It was many black men and women in our community that we could look up to as our heroes or our model. Don't let anybody fool you. Hank Aaron was one of them. And when I was catching the ball, because if you caught the ball off the wall and you caught it, that was an automatic out.
Willie Mays.
I wanted to be Willie Mays. Oh man, Willie Mays had a shoestring catch. I saw Willie Mays run and catch the ball behind his back. Nobody did that. You learn that in the Negro leagues. You learn how to play ball with a flair in the Negro leagues. It was Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. Willie Mays was say hey. He was the say hey kid. So I'm telling you today, let's remember Hammer and Hank. Let's remember he lived to be 86, but he lived a good life. He dealt with civil rights. He knew Martin Luther King. He was down in Atlanta with Martin Luther King. Let nobody tell you different. It's our story and our glory. Long live the legend of Hammering Hank Aaron.
Pop, grow something. You set me the game. So I just want to say, man, first of all, you are grounded, evolving, and elevating this, the storytelling game. And you looking good. You got your right spot with the orange backdrop. You shining brightly. You doing your thing, man. I just gotta let you know. So I said that to say, I'm not even trying to be funny, man. We had talked. You and I were having a conversation with Bob at the Clef Club before COVID struck. Bob Hines, and I just think it's time for us, man, to really figure out, what Caller said. We got to get these pop grow something stories on video and on audio. Did you see One Night in Miami yet?
No, I'm slow walking that one. I'm going to see it, but I'm slow walking.
Take your time, bro. You slow walking.
Okay.
Because you know enough about the real history to know when to be disappointed by what you saw.
Okay.
So take your time. But there's a thing in there about just looking at some documentaries with Sam Cooke. He had these things called soul stations throughout LA, where he was, had different, about 3 or 4 areas where young brothers in different neighborhoods could come and post up and do their talent. It's kind of like a Motown, but franchises where you had them all over a city, man. And we were talking about doing some storytelling, hip hop, music kind of spots like that at the Clef Club and other places throughout the city. And I just think with the storytelling stuff you're doing with Pop, man, and the education and the history, it's time for us to figure out how to stand back and get that idea back, whether some of it has to be virtual and in face, whatever, man. It's time. I think our brothers out on these streets and our people, our young people in general, need that, man. We need a space where we could tell and own and control our own stories. Because when other people tell our stories, man, even sometimes when they look like us, particularly our manhood stories, our manhood gets sacrificed in the storytelling, brother. So I thank you for bringing the strength and the power and the dignity. Hank Aaron, I know that was a part of his thing. He always wanted to kind of bring not just the athleticism and the success, but he always, it was important that he always came across and carried himself as a dignified, powerful black man. And so even as he was getting death threats, it was important for him that he never showed at the plate that he was troubled by the fact that people were literally threatening to kill him if he broke Babe Ruth's record. And I just think that we got to tell stories like that to our brothers, because I think there's a lot of despair out on our streets right now, because for such a long time we've marginalized and we've sacrificed the warriorhood of our black manhood. And we got to bring that back, man, or else that warriorhood is going to turn on our people, as it's doing now. 499 murders here last year. Year starting even at a quicker pace of murderers and shooting than that. That's desperate, weakened, inferiorized warriorhood that we have to begin to repurpose. So I know I said a lot, my brother, but you know, I know who I'm talking to, and I know you understand, man, because you know, you and I have been doing work in prisons and out here, and really trying to bring that storytelling, autobiographical power back to Black men. So, any thoughts about that?
Yeah, that's true, you know, because every day, if you look back on our history, if you look back on our story, every day, no matter who we were always on that battlefield, and especially in the beginning, before the 50s, you know, it was always with a battle with us. When our men, our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers stepped out to work, they had to fight. You know, they had to fight the discrimination on the job place, fight it coming home, fight it going to work, and even fight it at home. So we had to stand strong, most of us. Some of us, you know, we succumbed to the pressures because there was a lot of pressures. Right. And you can see that with our health, you know, with the high blood pressure and that type of thing, with the drinking and that type of thing. But we still had men in our community who was on that front line. No matter what battlefield it was. Hank Aaron was in his field, which was baseball. You had Cecil B. Moore in Philadelphia, who was on the legal front, breaking down barriers. You know, that's somebody for us to look up to. It was a whole bunch of us. And you're right, you know, when you get displaced, when that warriorship gets displaced, then, and you believe somebody else's story, then we turn on each other. And that's got to stop. We can't turn on each other. We got to turn on our enemy.
Well, and it's a mission. We gotta be intentional about resurrecting and repurposing that warrior and that manhood spirit. I mean, we've been subjected to what I call I'm 55. I saw it happen for me. I'm sure it happened before. We're going to talk a little bit about this today, but I saw it visibly when they killed the character of John Amos James on Good Times. And this idea that there was no space on TV for that kind of father. And he wasn't perfect, but, you know, he was embodied, you know, no nonsense man of the house kind of energy. And you could see television systematically destroy that kind of image of manhood and fatherhood ever since I guess that's about 1977. I saw it clear. I saw, you know, it was coming off of Roots. And I remember seeing Roots, and I didn't feel empowered. After Kunta Kinte, it was all downhill. You know, behold, the only thing greater than yourself. And then the rest of the story is like, oh, we getting beat, we getting whipped. So it's like, you know, we got to be careful about storytelling, man. And I appreciate Keepers of the Culture and their focus on the fact that as keepers of the culture, we got to do a better job as guardians and stewards of our stories. That's what we're going to talk about today. One night in Miami, I don't know. I can't, you know, and we talk about Black excellence, but I can't give Regina King or the brother who wrote it, Kent Powers, I can't give them a shout out on what they did to the story of Malcolm and Sam Cooke and Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali. I as a man, and I as a warrior, and I as someone who's familiar with the real history of some things, you can't let that go unchallenged, because it's a hatchet job at a time where they literally castrated the very type of manhood that we needed. And we're going to talk about how that happened today. I'm a little surprised that our people have seen that movie and act like it was giving it applause and platitudes. There's not much honorable in what I experienced. So we're talking about it today.
Well, Brother Shamar, you know, we as a people, we're still glad to see ourselves on the screen, no matter what it is. We don't give it any depth. You know, they got one about Fred Hampton out now because they're making money. They saw where Panther went. Now they have this, and then, like I said, they got one about Fred Hampton.
Yep.
But
they had Harriet Tubman. But you know what it is? What it really is, and I'm surprised we're not catching it. You know, can you hold on, Pop? Because I want to go to commercial break, but I want to vibe with you a little bit more about this and then open up the conversation to our audience. So, again, greetings, everybody. This is Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. I'm having my conversation with my elder, Pop, grow something. And we're going to be talking about One Night in Miami, but really what I'm talking about, and I would like you to call in and weigh in, is What are the ways right now in 2021 or recent memory? And I want you to hear my question, because I don't want you calling in with making up them stuff. What are the ways that we as Black people right now, either in popular culture or in our everyday lives, are honoring the spirit of Black man warriorhood? Tell me how we do it, because that's how you keep the spirit alive. You got to honor the energy of it. Tell me how. Point me in a direction, because I see a lot of attempts to negate it, minimize it, and diminish it. And I can share some real life attempts, real life stories if we need to. But how are we as a community intentionally honoring, affirming, resurrecting, and nurturing the spirit of Black man warriorhood in our community? Share that with me at 215-634-8065. Again, that's 215-634-8065. Tell me what entertainment, what movies, what cartoons, what stories, what ceremonies, what rituals, what rites of, what do we have that's intentionally designed to affirm, nurture, resurrect the spirit of African Black strong warriorhood in our midst? 866-361-0900. Because one night in Miami did the exact opposite. Talk with you after these messages.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not Black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
Undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
Keeping you informed. As a community service, WURD Radio and the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium wants to keep you informed about where you can get no-cost, barrier-free COVID-19 testing this week. Monday, January 25th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at SEPTA Suburban Station, 16th and JFK Boulevard. Tuesday, January 26th from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at Esperanza Health Center, 4417 North 6th Street. And Thursday, January 28th from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at Mastery Charter School Cleveland Campus, 3701 North 19th Street. Stay informed and stay well with WURD Radio.
96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Groundings
With Brother Shamari.
right now on WURD Radio
And WordRadio.com.
Mama, last night you came to me in a dream. You were a goddess. Alpha Oyo. She who commands the rain. And tonight you keep reaching out to me. Now I realize that in order for me to get what I need, it is I who must come to you. Eshu, guardian of the crossroads, with your permission, I must speak to my mother. Shango, thunderous king of the heavens, my journey takes me through your kingdom.
Alaroye yokode, alaroye yokode, ibaworisha mawo, alaroye yokode, alaroye, 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 fella, agugu.
And welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, and Elevations. I'm going to play a little bit more of that a little later on in our show. Y'all know that's one of my favorite scenes and songs and music. It's from Fail Out Broadway. It's that segment of Dance of the Orisha, and as it segues into a song called Rain. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that because there's an energy that's in that visual and in that audio and in that story, in that narrative. And I think we've lost the soul and the spirit of that. And I saw it in one night in Miami. I saw the movie. Everybody told me I needed to see it, so I broke down and I saw it last night. And I'm going to tell you, I wish I didn't because I knew better. And I don't, you know, when you trying to win fights that everybody else around you tells you, number one, you shouldn't even be in, and number two, you have no chance of winning. You can't tell stories that take away that spirit. And I think that happened in one night in Miami. And one of the things I'm surprised about, Pop, getting back to our conversation, that I don't hear people understanding. And, you know, I'm in this space right now where I'm going to just say what I mean and mean what I say, and the chips going to fall where they may, because it's that time for us. And we don't have time to be playing, particularly as men and particularly as warriors. We just don't have time to be playing. So, you know, I was in an interview, and I was being interviewed, and I was asked about the racial justice uprisings, and somebody asked me about this renewed interest in Black, number one, businesses and corporations, and their renewed interest in Black people and trying to be on the front lines of supporting Black causes as a result of the riots and the uprisings of the summer. And they also talked about, you know, this new uptick in entertainment of Black-oriented movies and entertainment. And I said, well, it's nothing to get that excited about, because if you recall, after the 60s, the Black Power movement, civil rights movement, there came a campaign that came to be known as Black exploitation movies. And a lot of what we consider now Black culture came out of Ebony, Jet, and other white magazines being on the front lines of developing ads with a Black Power fist and the afro and, you know, Billy D. Williams and malt liquor, all of that stuff, the Cadillac, all of that stuff came as a negation of our forward progress that was being made in the 60s as a result of movements. So whenever Black people make noise and make movement, the white corporate structure and the white entertainment structure always respond in order to co-opt and negate the movement that they're responding to. So we can't get foolish and naive to think that all of a sudden, because Hollywood is paying attention to Black people, or because corporate America is paying attention to Black people, that means they're doing justice to the social justice that Black people are fighting for. Like, it's 2021. How in the hell are we still being duped and bamboozled by imagery and symbols? Help me understand, Papa.
Well, we have to, I think that one of the things that I would do, and one of the things I've done, I've researched, you know, other than what Hollywood has given us. There's independent Black filmmakers who have put our story onto film that we could be proud of. If we don't leave that film feeling proud, right, and if we don't leave that film with our dignity intact, and Dr. Ed Robinson taught me that, you know, he showed me that, because he didn't go with anything. He said, our dignity has got to be intact. Our pride has got to be intact. When we leave that, then that means that they still doing psychological damage to us. Now, the film that I'm talking about, the independent film, is Sankofa.
Right.
Haile Karima, who's from Ethiopia, but he came over here and with his own money, he made a film about our story. And it had, you know, all the right places and all the right people in it. And that's what we have to do. We have to go beyond what that is. Now, that meeting, to be clear, because some people, they say it didn't happen, the meeting didn't happen, everything was fictional. No, the meeting happened, but what was said at the meeting, we don't know. Right. But the meeting did happen between those 4 brothers.
And it was a meeting. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a called meeting. It was called by Malcolm. They turned Pop in the movie. They turned Malcolm X, who was without a doubt at that moment the most powerful black man in America, the most feared black man in America and internationally. And they turned him into a passive, whiny Barack Obama figure. They literally, visually, as well as rhetorically, Malcolm X became Barack Obama in that movie. And because we don't have a respect for our warriorhood that was happening all throughout the decades of the 60s, because we let other people tell that story, even nonviolent warriorhood that was happening in the civil rights movement from Dr. King and them, because we let them tell those stories and turn all of our men into these pacified, for lack of a better word, I'm going to just say it, pacified punks. We don't understand how much of a diminishment the story we saw in One Night in Miami is to the actual history and the reality of what happened. That's part one. The other thing that's bothering me is for these particularly brothers, but people who don't know the history. So they want to now defend the movie and they don't know what the hell they talking about. Like why it was only fiction. Because the fiction castrates the facts. The fiction does an injustice to our history. And only insane people don't protect their history. Every other group, the Jewish group, the Irish group, the Asian group, they don't let other people minimize their stories, and they will inflate their story and act like the inflation is the truth. We're the only people that deflate our story and then protect the deflation. That's insane. It's intolerable. And I don't understand the passive punkified nature of our people who are rushing to do so. Because again, we're in the midst of the second blaxploitation. Really, it's the third blaxploitation ever in theater and movies. And they're trying to co-opt our stories before we learn the history that the story is based on. And when they do that, they neuter the person, just like they did with Dr. King and his holiday. They want to craft a Dr. King narrative that makes him soft and weak and a community servant, because the more you go back and actually study the history, the more you realize that whether you believe in nonviolence or not, you can't take that dude's warriorhood away from him. He was a warrior.
Yes.
Now, he had his own way, and he had a level of commitment that most people would never be able to walk into. Malcolm X was a warrior, and he was the old head in the room, and they made it seem like them other dudes saw him as their peer and argued with him throughout the movie. And if anything, people know Sam Cooke, Muhammad Ali idolized Malcolm. So they not in the hotel room like they frat brothers talking about getting some leg after a big moment. That's not what they went in the room to do, but that's what the movie implies. And you know, man, we can't swallow that and act like that's a source of pride. And the fact any black man who professes to be a warrior but swallows that with pride, he needs to. I'm about to say something that's gonna get me kicked off the air, but I'm gonna stop right there, Pop.
All right. So we, again, we got to study, because if we believe the narrative, say Martin Luther King, if we believe the narrative, it was just, I have a dream. But then when you study him and you see that he came from Morehouse, and a lot of good men that I know, come out of Morehouse. but dealing with Morehouse and his background, he evolved. He was grounded, he evolved, he went from civil rights to human rights to world rights. And he met with Martin Luther King. He met with Malcolm X. He met with Elijah Muhammad. He took it in, he studied. We've got to do the same thing. We can't be going with Hollywood. Right. I want to see this one about the chairman, Fred Hampton, or I see the trailers on it. I want to see how they gonna do with that. I want to hear what the people say about that.
Well, what you see they doing, Baba, is they're going back and they're rewriting our history for us. You're a storyteller. They're getting these stories and they're promoting them out to a generation who hasn't had the acuity to go study the history. So they're getting in front of the story as a means of neutering our warriorhood. It's no accident that Hollywood is all of a sudden story after story after story of our greatest heroes. And you leave the story like, that's some weak stuff. You leave Black Panther. Like, if you know better, you're like, oh, wait, what was that? Now Harriet, and now Nat Turner, and now Malcolm, and like you said, Fred, like, yo, these mugs are rewriting our history. That's psychological warfare that's happening. We call it entertainment.
And look at the children. I mean, the children are the ones who are going to look at it. Exactly. You know, I'm going to be gone, but my grandchildren will be looking at those movies. Like we look at old movies today.
And that's why we got to intervene, sir. We can't let them have this story, because all it's doing is turning us into passive recipients of oppression. And they'll act like we protested a little bit. They'll act like we whined a little bit, but they won't show that we were intentional about power. Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali went into a room in the Hampton House in Miami, planning for power as they were all ascending to their most powerful positions in their respective fields. They wasn't four brothers who was glad to be here brothers. They all were the most powerful figures in their respect, and they were trying to figure out how to turn that into even more power on behalf of Black people. It wasn't no coincidence they went in that room and ate white ice cream.
And all of those men that you just named are men that we wanted to be like when we grew up. If you were playing football, you wanted to mow them down like Jim Brown.
Correct.
You wanted to be as strong as Jim Brown. If you were into boxing, you had moves like Muhammad Ali. You floated like a butterfly. You stung like a bee. You wanted to sing like Sam Cooke. You know, you wanted to be those Black men. And then Hollywood takes it, puts it in the capsule, spits it out at you, and then they, like you say, oh, what was that?
Pop, that's why we got you on this show, because we got to get our stories right. I appreciate you bringing the dignity, honor, power, integrity back to Baba. Hank Aaron. Remember, I went to Moore. I remember watching him when he broke the record. I was a young boy. I can't remember the year, 74 or so. It was in the 70s. I remember being young. I remember playing wall ball. You know, like baseball is not something that Black people automatically did. We did it because of the Negro Leagues. We did it because of Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. You know, you can't find a brother in baseball now. Baseball now, brothers from here, from America, constitute less than 12% of the National League players in the professional leagues in baseball now. You know, and so these stories and images matter, man, because in the 70s, he gave birth to people later like Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. And now when you don't see that and you don't see it in its integrity, you don't want to be it. And so my thing is we need to start seeing what African and Black warriorhood looks like. I want y'all to tell me where you see it, where you be it, how we affirm it, how we highlight it. Where is it? Because I don't see it. Every time I look up, I see them trying to take away our African warriorhood, our Black warriorhood, and we got to be intentional about affirming that. So shout out Ashe, Amen, Abibi, Amala to brother ancestor Malcolm X. All of that power, Black power, to ancestor Muhammad Ali. Black power, Black dignity, Black manhood, Black warriorhood. Shout out to illustrious singer Sam Cooke. Because one night in Miami, tried to take it away from y'all, brothers, and I ain't going to let that happen. And I hope we got other people out there who ain't going to let that happen. If you want to join this conversation, hit me up, 215-634-8065. Toll free 866-361-0900. When we come back, I'm going to jump right to the phone lines. And then I'm going to play my song, Dance of the Orisha and Rain, because that song highlights African warriorhood. It's a call to warriorhood and manhood from Fela's mother, who's in the ancestral realm. You know, like when T'Challa visited his father in the ancestral realm, and she's saying to him, nah, bro, you don't get to run. You don't get to stand down. You don't get to have a price. You don't get to punk out. Let the bullets come. Let the bullets fly. Your job is to stand in the midst of the war. Stand like a man. Stand like a royal. Stand like a king. Stand like a warrior. And we got to start having that message, because without that message, those young brothers you got in the street, all they know is how to be a thug or how to be a kingpin, because we don't honor warriorhood anymore. And blood is running in the streets because we don't know how to purpose black manhood. Talk with you after these messages.
Peace.
Peace.
Just one more step. You got it.
You're doing great. This is the sound of a nationally ranked top rehabilitation hospital, home to the largest collection of robotics in the United States, where we continually exceed patient expectations, because no injury is too severe or too minor for our care.
There you go.
This is the sound of success. Moss Rehab. Challenge accepted.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation
as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com. Groundings
With Brother Shamari
right now on WURD Radio
and WURDradio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings with me, Brother Shamari. Groundings comes at you this is my woosah pillow, y'all. So y'all see my little pillow in the back. This is me trying to, get my woosah down, because y'all don't really know, man. Y'all saw the show. My brother's telling me I needed to see it. So I broke down and I made arrangements last night, because I don't even watch television for this reason. I understand its purpose. It's a weapon. And I don't willingly invite weapons into my space, because you got to keep your mind to stay in this and try to do it right with integrity. And I'm not perfect, but I'm going to stand on my integrity. And I'm stand on the fact that I understand that you can't have a price and try to be a warrior. You can't have a price and have black life. And so that's just real. So I paid my price, and because I don't have a price. I'm going to say that. I like that. I got to write that down somewhere. I paid my price because I don't have a price. And Malcolm paid his price because he didn't have a price. And others paid their price because they didn't have a price. And so we can't let people do a hatchet job on their humanity, their dignity, and their warriorhood, man. And I'm letting y'all know this is a sword. I'll fall, I die, and I'll kill on this sword. Because you can't, I know the power of imagery and stories when your little boy and your sons look up and say, oh, I could be that. Yeah, that motivates me. Imagine if your warrior energy wanted to grow up and be Malcolm or Fred Hampton, another one of that warrior energy, Nat Turner instead of an MMA fighter or a boxer or a football player. And I'm not minimizing those roles, because you could be a warrior in that spot. Jim Brown was one. But when all of a sudden this energy that says, no, we got a price, you're going to mess up the good, massa feeding us good, or massa feeding me good. So y'all need to stay in your place so I can continue to benefit. We live in a city where the black leadership and the black messengers of this city have made and constantly make that deal and have suppressed the spirit of our men for so long that right now black men are fighting each other, while black non-men, people who are operating in such a passive, punkified, price-having positions are selling our children's futures right out from under us. And we complain and whine about it every day. So the brothers with any semblance of warrior spirit are in the streets killing one another because we've made being a warrior dishonorable. Our preachers make it dishonorable. Our mothers and fathers, now you can't talk like that because you're going to threaten my security, my job. The master ain't going to like it. You got too much mouth. You got too much heart. You got too much courage. So 50, 60, 70 years of pouring water on the warrior spirit of our people. And now we're in the moment when the thing we need most is a black man warrior spirit. And we look all around, can't find nobody. Everybody's compromised, bent over, on their knees, on their backs, on their whatever it is, whatever prostate position we have been instructed to take in the time when we're literally fighting for our and our children's future, and we can't find black men willing to stand in the eye of the storm with dignity, power, and integrity. We got a people right now who think that we made progress because we elected an old racist, senile white man instead of an old racist, senile white man. And we want to call that progress. We coming into 2021 celebrating and shouting and praising each other like we actually did something on the battlefield to bring power and dignity to our people. Get the hell out of here with that madness. It's time now. And the other thing, I don't care what you do with your story. Don't rewrite my story. Don't rewrite my words. If my words aren't good enough the way I said them, then leave my words out of the story you're telling. That dishonors me. And the price will be what it will be. I'm going to say it from this point forward. If this platform can't handle what I say, then let me leave this platform. But don't turn my words into punk words, because I don't speak punk words. So if you can't handle what I actually said, don't edit what I said. Let's go to Joseph from Massachusetts.
Hello?
Joseph, go on what?
I got your answer.
Speak up, man. I can't hear you.
I got your answer. Could you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you a little better. Come on with it.
The movie Sounder. You ever seen it?
So long ago that I don't remember it.
Yeah, well, that's a black man warrior. With Cecilia Tyson. I seen it in 1976, 200th bicentennial anniversary of America. In 5th grade, my favorite teacher, Mr. McCallum, a black man. Sounder taught me a lot. You know, the sheriff department rigged him up on a false charge. He had to do time in jail. Cecilia Tyson was his wife. And his two young sons, they caught hell. They had a small farm. You can hear that?
I hear you.
And that taught me the importance of a man. Another life story is my grandfather. He with my grandmother. I spent my first 8 years life with them. He built a house. He took care of 16 people, me and my first cousin.
Yeah.
I remember he had diabetes. He had one leg. I was 5 years old. Looking out the window, and he's on top of a hog pen, repairing the hog pen. He got up every morning, went to the forest. Didn't come back till late evening. That was a hard-working man, and all the men around me. And another important thing, I'm going to hang up. I'm not going to take up the show.
Before you hang up, Joseph, though, what I want you to get to, and, you know, sometimes I get nervous about you know, and your responses to the question, but you're right on point in this one. But the question I want to get to, though, I hear that you appreciate what particularly your grandfather and them did. How did the people in your community and village honor and affirm that is the question I want to get to, because I'm contending right now that, you know, Chris Rock did a joke about the big piece of chicken. At least can Dad get the big piece of chicken? Like, how did your people reciprocate and show that hardworking man with one leg who built the house and did all of that aspect of his manhood was appreciated?
That's exactly what I was getting. When we eating dinner, he sits at the head table. My grandmother feeds him first. My mother, when we had Thanksgiving, my stepfather get the chicken leg. They always give props to the man. The problem is he's feminist. And another point that you need to think of is the importance of the woman. When I was a little kid and there's a man around me doing something, fixing a door, my mother would force me to go watch him. You just fixing the car. And because of that, I love to build stuff. I'm a master carpenter. Because my family, the woman enforced that a man is a man, and a man needs to learn certain things. And that's where we got away from with this feminist crap. And that's how the people around them.
I appreciate your insights, brother Joseph.
Yeah, have a nice day.
You too. That's very valuable, and I appreciate that insight. Let's go to Cliff from Connecticut. So we got Massachusetts. Now we're moving on down to Connecticut. We're gonna do the whole Eastern Shore main line, I guess.
Yes, sir. Let me tell you this, Brother Samari. What you just preached and what you just said, brother, that should have been a sermon for every preacher to have preached in the pulpit, online, live streaming this morning, brother. You spoke the truth. You spoke the gospel, bro. And let me tell you right now, man.
It might have been my last chance
part of our biggest problem, and I hate to say it, is punk preachers. We don't need no more punk preachers in our community.
All right, so time out. I don't want to. You know, I gave enough ammunition to get myself in trouble. I don't want to overuse the word, the P word anymore. So help me out here. Don't help me get fired. Just back up a little bit. I got your word. Just say the P word or something.
I put it on me, and I'm saying is that Malcolm X, and this I'm gonna segue. Listen to your answer, my answer. Malcolm X, the movie Malcolm X by Spike Lee, Denzel Washington played. That was the most profound movie I've ever seen in my life, and particularly the scene. I'll give you the scene when all the brothers lined up and Malcolm pointed his finger, and all the brothers, man, obeyed, man, and in unison they responded. And the white boy said, the cop said, that's too much power for one man to have.
Right. And so
that
now
right there, my brother, what this whole thing is all about.
And you're going to walk now into this room with that same dude, 2-3 years later, and you got these young boys going to be arguing him up and down like he wasn't nobody. Like, get out of here, man. Like, they weren't peers. Malcolm convened his young boys on a mission. They were on a mission before they went into a room. Nobody really talks about that. They were already working together with other people. There was more than just them. It was just the four of them in the room. They were already making pacts and plans and in process. They went into the room to have a power man check-in so they could do power man work after the check-in. And in one night, somebody, and again, I'm not going to put it all on Regina because she just directed a thing that some other quote-unquote black man wrote. But if you ain't got heart like that, don't put your passivity into the place where brothers have power and heart like that. That is not cool. Don't put your story and your fear and your trepidation into a room that brothers went into to act like and deliver. These brothers paid too big of a price, y'all. Sam Cooke was there within 8 months of that meeting. Too big of a price for y'all to act like what they were meeting about and what they were planning on doing evidently threatened the empire because 2 of them were dead within a year. I can't let you tell a passive story about what they went into that room for and act like that's okay. Because what they went into the room for evidently threatened a lot of people, and they put plans in effect to make sure that 2 of those brothers were no longer with us. It dishonors their legacy to tell that story and act like that story mattered for anything they did. Thank you, my brother Cliff. Any last words? Because I know I probably cut you off. Man.
Yeah, but I just want to end with this. It was that Malcolm X was the one that brought the consciousness to those brothers, man, because they had success, but with their success, they didn't want to disturb and get the white man upset. Sam Cooke, he is famous for what's wrong.
Let me say to you, I hear you and I appreciate what you're saying. What I'm trying to convey to you is no, they didn't walk into the room as punks. They were already making. Sam Cooke's A Change Is Going to Come had already been released before that. They show it at the end of the movie like he was convicted into that position. He had already done A Change Is Going to Come. He had already performed it on the Johnny Carson show in January, a month before the fight. They already were in coherence and allegiance and working together to push the envelope. That's what I'm saying. There's a whole rewriting and revisionist history, and it took us back. If you want to revise history, at least take the history forward. How are we going to deflate the history, make it regressive, and then celebrate that like that was an advancement, man? All four of those brothers, in their own way and world, already were disciples of Malcolm. They came into the room because Malcolm summoned them into the room to advance what they were doing, knowing that his position within the Nation of Islam was about to change. And he was trying to pull them even more further into a black nationalist coalition that subsequently became the Organization of African American Unity once he came back from Africa. He had solidified and was solidifying his base here, and then going to Africa to expand and solidify a Pan-African base that had some of the most powerful people in the world all in alignment. That's the story that should have been told. And how we pick that up from here is the quest we should have laid out for our people. But we got some dude in there whining and crying like Barack Obama to my people, I don't believe it. Man, come up on a commercial break. Because we accept crap and we accept poop as if it's honor, because we're so starved of images. We're so starved of what it means to be a black man or a black woman that right now we'll call anything black excellence or black magic, black girl magic, black boy excellence. Know what excellence is. The stuff you're clamoring for, our ancestors have already done, and we're refighting the fights that they've already fought and won. We're going backwards instead of forward. That is not good enough. And if I can't talk about that level of elevation on this platform, if I got to keep meeting people where they are and people want to stay stuck in kindergarten, that's not what I do. I can't sign up for that journey. Talk to you after these messages.
Do you have big goals for your business in 2021? Get started and register now for the Business Center's online business plan course. In the 12-week business plan course, you will create a business plan and learn how to finance your business, use social media as a marketing tool, identify grants and loans for funding, and more. You can even receive a loan of $10,000 or more based on your completed business plan. Register now. Visit THEBIZCTR.com today to register for the course and secure your online seat. Financial aid and one-on-one business coaching options are available. Visit THEBIZCTR.com for more information and to register for the online business plan course today. Brought to you by the Business Center.
Jobs,
entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources,
and financial literacy.
Livelihood. The new initiative from WURD Radio to connect Philadelphians to resources to help take the next steps in their professional lives. WordWorks.com features career readiness tools, entrepreneurship resources, funding opportunities, and events to expand your livelihood. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
Announcing the Black Words Book Club.
WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for February is Long Time Coming, Reckoning with Race in America by Michael Eric Dyson, a New York Times bestseller that traces the roots of racism from slavery and Jim Crow to police brutality. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, February 9th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. Groundings
with Brother Shamari.
Right now on WURD Radio
and WURDRadio.com.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movie and I go downtown. Somebody keep telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my
Hey, welcome back. Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari. Before I get back to the phone lines, I'm gonna talk about this because oh man, just filling in some blanks. So the scene at the end of the movie where Sam Cooke is singing on the Johnny Carson show actually should have started the movie. The movie should have started where it ended, because that's how the year kind of starts. You know, in January, February of 1964, a change is going to come. It already been written, produced by Sam Cooke, and sung before the fight, February 25th. So this idea that Sam wasn't grappling with his role as a soul singer and the biggest artist in the world at that time, who was pioneering behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, one of the first real efforts by a black performer to own his own mat. Some of what we know Prince went through, Michael Jackson went through. I'm gonna bring this home as to why this is important, because this is not just history. And when you teach the history wrong, your present reality is wrong. So I'm gonna get to the phone lines. I'll ask y'all to hold on for a minute. So Sam, that's already done. That's done. That's part of the Sam and Malcolm were friends. They all were friends. Let me say, I'm not gonna segment that. They showed that into the movie. Every now and then they would drop a line and remind you that they knew each other. So Sam had already made that conversion about what he was doing with his music, both in front of, publicly, but also behind the scenes. We're his push to control his music and his master. You don't think that's a conversation that happened with Malcolm and the other people? That's a done deal. That wasn't nothing to argue about in that room. They had already done that. Change is going to come is out. Now the problem is, and which is why I'm mad, is because the brother paid a price for that song. Let's talk that by the end of the year, he starts the year off with that song, performing on Johnny Carson. And then they don't play the song because they don't like the third or the second verse. I go to the movies, I go downtown. They keep telling me not to hang around. They took that song. Once that version got released after Sam was died, the release version didn't even have that verse in it. It was banned. That's a price he paid. But the other thing that the movie could have done, if you're trying to get the story right and you really want to put bullseyes where they belong, that white boy that's in one scene at the beginning, they end up calling him Alan. His name is Alan Klein. Alan Klein, to this day, that's why I don't really want to play a lot of Sam Cooke's music. Alan Klein, every time you hear a Sam Cooke song, Alan Klein's family, descendants, because he's dead, get paid because Alan Klein stole all of Sam's stuff. All the Saw record stuff, all that got signed over to Tracy Records. Alan Klein was the sole owner of Tracy Records. So that moment in the movie where Sam is boasting about how shrewd a businessman he was, and he just got killed in limbo, such that by virtue of him getting killed, miraculously, all of his stuff transfers over to Alan Klein. To this very day, Alan Klein's estate makes that money. Why is that important? Some of you all might, if you're into music and listening to stuff, there's a new movement right now called hypnosis. Hypnosis is spending full $500 million gobbling up different black and other, but mostly black producers. Niles Rodgers is with hypnosis. Matter of fact, they got him out front. Rodney Jurgensen, I think his name is, Darkchild, who did a lot of stuff for Michael Jackson. A lot of your hip hop artists, your major ones, are signing over their catalogs to this white-owned, white-fronted, black-face group called Hypnosis. It's spelled HIPGNOSIS. So they're telling you in the name that you need to watch out for it because there's some nefarious metaphysical stuff going on, but we don't even really talk about playing at that level. And they, just like Bill Gates is gobbling up farmland all across America and Africa and the world, and gobbling up seeds, just like Amazon is gobbling up books and knowledge and becoming the monopoly distributor. Bill Gates is going to become the monopoly distributor with food and vaccines and medicines. Hypnosis is gobbling up record catalogs, particularly black music record catalogs. In the name, same way as Alan Klein on steroids, convincing these artists that for your protection, because you can't fight against the major music industries, give me your catalogs. I'll be your advocate and your protector. We can come together as a conglomeration, but underneath it all, that entity owns your stuff. Y'all really think Michael Jackson, one of the shrewdest business people you had, he was a warrior businessman. He might not have had the warrior facade in a lot of other ways, but as a businessman, that dude was a warrior. You really think he overdosed without a will? Just like Sam Cooke supposedly was trying to rape a hooker and got shot without a will. Just like Bob Marley's estate was in litigation for almost 12 years because supposedly he didn't have a will and the white bulls are stealing his stuff too. You think Prince, after going through all he went through with his record label, literally OD'd on fentanyl-laced heroin or pain medicine, opium, whatever, without a will? Really? We that dumb. Mugs make you deals you can't refuse all the time. And when you have a price, you take those deals. And right now, mugs are bowing down taking deals because they have a price. And they're getting a pretty good piece of money. They're not like dying like Sam Cooke. They're getting $100 million for their catalog or $50 million, but their catalog is probably worth $1 trillion. Those seeds, when is the last time you ate a piece of fruit that actually has seeds in it? So to understand that there's a market in genetically modified organisms called food right now. Mostly all of the food we eat, if you buy it in the supermarket, is genetically modified. It's a carbon copy of what it's supposed to be. And you have people who are going and they're buying all the rights to book publishing and everything, such that at some point everything you consume mentally as entertainment is going to be streamed or zoomed or some kind of artificial channel that can be controlled and censored right into your brain. And the little bit of black manhood and black power and black warriorhood we have left right now is literally going to be sucked and sapped away because they control the mind state and the mind space. Literally monopolies all around education. Pretty soon you're going to have one unitary source of education. That's what Common Core Standards is about. We're going to define the protocols of educating your people, and then we're going to deliver it through the Zoom platform, not even by other people, by avatars, by robots, by whatever. It don't even matter. You know, it's going to be artificial. If we succumb now, our children won't be able to break the matrix, y'all. That's why this is important, because they're intentionally engaged in intellectual, psychological, spiritual warfare to sap the warriorhood and the manhood from a people, such that as they steamroll over a people, instead of resistance, people succumb. It's not complicated. Anybody who hasn't had his manhood or his warriorhood or their soul stolen should be able to see this by now. And it's time we stop having baby kindergarten conversations that are governed by the spirit of mammy instead of mama or mother. That's governed by the spirit of Yemaya instead of Aunt Jemima. If y'all remember, we started groundings trying to get you to understand the inversion that has happened to our people. Now we're suffering the results of the inversion because mammy won't raise a warrior. Only mama will. Aunt Jemima not going to raise a warrior. Only a spirit like Yemaya or Aset will. So we got to call our people to a higher calling, or else we're going to die in the name of keeping it real, in a reality that's as artificial as this conversation we're having right now on this Zoom platform. Let's go to Eric, line 3. Greetings.
Hey, God bless you, brother. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man, but I got to say what I got to say because I'm tired of faking the funk.
No, man, you lighten it up as usual. That's why we need to continue to support you. I think what ought to happen, I'd like to see happen, is that we continue to support independent black films or independent black theater if we can't afford the independent black films in which we have conscious Afrocentric writers put together the content for the independent black film and theater. So that we can get the true message
being
out
black
of
is
people.
not enough. They have to be black-minded, black-conscious, African-centered. That's an important thing, man. Because these black folks right now are just disguised Pied Pipers who are leading us off of the cliff on behalf of their service to white masters right now. We can't let that be enough.
Exactly. We have to have the consciousness in terms of the writers and the actors too. We can't let the actors off the hook for putting this trash out, you know.
Yeah.
And because a lot of times, well, you know, they're getting paid, but we got to support them. No, we can't support nests like this that act. Cause
say that again, man, because I need people to hear that. Because, you know, again, if I was on if I had a different space, I'd talk, that's that H mentality, that H word mentality. But say it again, because that's really what it boils down to. People have a price, and that we literally have convinced ourselves that as long as somebody's getting paid, we'll exonerate any of the devious, dastardly things they do because they got $1 for doing it. And last time I checked, that's called a prostitute. That's called that.
Exactly.
You know, there should not be. Man, go ahead, man. I'm gonna let you do this.
No, I appreciate what you're putting out there. You know, we have to hold everybody accountable, the actors and whoever is involved in this, the writers and the actors, because you need those people just to get that mess out there to the marketplace.
Have you seen this movie, by the way?
No. My thing is, I'm at the point now where we should just shun Hollywood.
Yes.
That's media we shouldn't deal with at all. You should know by general principle that it's not going to be productive for our community. We shouldn't waste time and money and energy into that. We need to put that time in.
But we don't see it as a weapon. It's a weapon. It's the most important weapon right now that white supremacy has in its arsenal to keep us in position, and we still act like it's just entertainment. It's the thing that draws us into the funnel. It's the thing that encaptures us, enraptures us, captivates us, and then it softens our mind for any other physical, mental, spiritual assault it wants to bring. That's why I don't own a television, man. And so when I actually I had to put effort into going to see this thing because people say I needed to see it. Now they'll say I needed to see it just because of the conversation we're having today. So I get it. I understand why my brothers told me I needed to see it. I get it now. because like, yo, it was a hatchet. It was a lynching, man. It was a high-tech lynching. You know, Clarence Thomas talked about it was a 4-piece high-tech lynching one night in Miami. That's what that was.
And did Jim Brown, have they come out to make statements about this film?
I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm curious. I'd be curious to see what the families of these different brothers have said about the film. I haven't seen that yet, man. I probably not, because I'm telling you, man, my energy was sapped from having to sit through that, man. I felt like I was under assault. You know, especially when you put the white boy in there, you didn't have to put him in there. But if you're gonna put him in there, you gotta at least let people know that he stole the brother's stuff. You don't even hint at that reality. You know, you act like Jim Brown. They punked the Nation of Islam, and I'm not the biggest Nation of Islam fan, but they did a hatchet job on the Nation of Islam in the movie.
Oh yeah. They're gonna consistently do that. That's why we have to shun Hollywood, you know, and put out our own conscious productions and put our finances behind it. Otherwise, and we have to get our youth involved in that, whether it's production or just getting them to see our independent productions. And
that's why I want people to at least see this, because I think that if you know what you're talking about and what you're looking at, it really is something you can really teach young brothers, particularly young brothers who are out there in those particular roles now. Like, you know, this Colin Kaepernick thing is cute, but Colin ain't, you know, he ain't really do nothing. Like, go back and talk about what these brothers and other people really put on the line on behalf of our people. And that's, see, again, the job is to go back and get the baton and advance the baton from where it was left, not to go back and then run in reverse once you pick the baton up. I mean, or run right past the baton and keep going back to step and fetch it. That's my thing. It's like, yo, if you miss these brothers and what they did, you're going to end up back with Amos and Andy and step and fetch it and that other coonery. You're going to be back in minstrel shoes. Which is where we are right now, except that the minstrels don't have to dress in blackface because black people are doing it for them. Man, let me get off this phone. Let me, real quick, Brother Eric, how have you seen black people affirming black warriorhood? How do we do that now? Do you see it? Is it happening anywhere? Because I don't really see it. I see us persecuting the very brothers and sisters and warriors that we're going to need to actually fight on our behalf right now. I don't know where the affirming safe space is for the straight no chaser brothers and sisters who are standing on behalf of black people anymore. I don't even feel, it don't even feel validated in some of the spaces that we say that energy is respected in. It's always a contest and a pushback and a resistance to the fact that we are at war, and in a war you need warriors.
Oh yeah, yeah. Exactly. You know, there may be some sites on, you know, Facebook and some social media entities that you might be able to pick up some affirming aspects of black manhood and womanhood, you know, while they still last. And because, you know, Facebook is something we definitely don't want to rely on, but we have to get our own media, social media, to maintain our affirmation. But those are some of the things I see lately, you know, that we can possibly turn to while still there.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you coming up.
Now you gonna put this on your Facebook too? What you talk about?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do something, man. I can't. You know, I've held space, and that's what I call this. But at some point, it's like, yo, if we can't really weigh in and have a conversation at the level that it needs to be dealt with, then what's the purpose of having this kind of space? So I'm hoping that. You know, I'm stepping into the fights that need to be stepped into a little more intentionally right here on these airways for as long as I can, and also, you know, the other spaces where these deeper dive conversations need to happen. But for me, all conversations have to lead to work, man. I could have made a lot of money if I had a price, because I know how to speak, I know how to dress it up, I know how to tone it down and make it hype and make it hot or make it cool. If I was just a speaker. I could have made a lot of money just doing that. That's not enough, man. These people coming for us. And before they come for us, they got us coming for ourselves. That's the auto oppression that France Fanon warned us about is here. And we're not acting with the urgency and the integrity into the moment that's right in front of us. And we're literally sacrificing our children's future by the indecisions or the cowardly decisions that we're making right now, my brother. So every way, I'm going to try to expand what I do. Any way people can help, feel free, because playtime is over, and you know, we just got to step our game up, man. These kindergarten conversations that people are having right now are going to be the death of us.
Exactly, because we're just buying into the hype of the mainstream integration, you know. So,
well, thank you, my brother, again. And you know, this psychological warfare, psychological operations,
exactly.
part of counterintelligence, COINTELPRO is basic stuff. If you read it and you want to know it, we just got to stop submitting to it. Coming up on the commercial break, that was Brother E from New Orleans. Thank you, as always, for your support, my brother. Coming up on the commercial break, when we come back, no music in Ngaki. I want to come right back to you. I want to ask you, being descendants of one of the most fighting families, you know, in Guinea today, you know, that history, that legacy of fighting and warriorhood is important. I want to know how, from the African perspective, from the Guinean perspective, that our people, through memory and through celebration, honor the spirit of warriorhood. Then I want to jump right in and play Dance of the Orisha and Rain. And I want to get the rain because rain is the important part. That's when the mother says to Fela, nah, bro, you don't get to run. Let the bullets come. You got a mission. And your mission is going to be what plants and grows and nourishes and nurtures the seeds that will then bring along a more powerful future. You can't run from that. You can't punk out from your mission. I won't give you permission. I refuse to give you permission to run away. And that is who we need to raise. We got to have the Osset, Asar spirit to raise our male and female, our young and our old, herus. And if that's not what our mission is, as Frantz Fanon says, every generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. Right now, and I'm going to say it very clearly, no apologies. Right now, black people, we are failing our mission, and it's inexcusable, it's unacceptable. Because either you're doing it out of cowardice or for cash. Both premises are dishonorable. Step into our power. It's time to transform. Talk with you after these messages.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, kind of work people more than 8 hours without overtime, kind of work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
Want the latest in word swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk Media.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work. Sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Groundings with Brother Shamari. Right now on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com.
Welcome back to Groundings, Evolutions, Elevations with Brother Shamari on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. 96.1 FM, 900 AM on your radio. Gil Scott Heron said the revolution will not be televised. That's why I got my little television up there. I'm trying to, televise a little bit, but at the same time, I agree with him. It will not be televised, but it must be taught. And we have to do a better job of teaching. And I'm trying to teach it. It's my part. I ain't the only part. We got to teach, and one of the things we got to teach is warriorhood. And we got to teach that often as a people, we win and advance only when we see warriorhood with integrity. That's the only way you move forward. Every time we take our foot off the gas and start compromising and shuffling and counting our cash that we got from other people's blood, sweat, and tears, that's when the regression begins. And we're in a very regressive moment right now. And we got to make this regressive moment powerful again in our pursuit of Black life, liberation, independence, freedom, and empowerment. If you ain't ready for that conversation, you might need to listen to a different radio show. But at a time in 2021, when we're literally celebrating the fact that we have recently elected an old senile racist white dude from Delaware and replaced the old senile racist white dude from New York, and we act like that's the source of our power and advancement and purpose, then we in trouble. And we dishonor what we were told to do and instructed to do by our ancestors. I don't know if I got my young sister, good sister Ngakia. Are you there, Ngakia? Because I have a question for you.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so every now and then I got to check in with you because you're a descendant of one of the strongest, one of our strongest, most recent warrior spirits. Somebody who Malcolm X was actually in conversation with and seeking counsel from, and that informed him in many ways in his journey coming back here as a Muslim, as an African, as a leader of people, in your great uncle. I'm wondering, my question though directly for you is, in your culture, for your people, and to the extent that you have knowledge of African approaches to this overall, how through our culture do we begin to take, number one, more seriously the role of the warrior, and how is that nurtured and celebrated and commemorated and signified from your perspective, what you know of your culture and your people of Guinea?
Right. So to answer the first question, I think we find that right now in education, not necessarily the education that is taught to us. I think right now there's a lot of the Chinese government has a very big influence on our education right now, obviously geared towards like they're capitalist, and so do the French. But education doesn't need to come from schools, so it's listening to those stories that have been reinforced and told to us, that were passed down from our ancestors. And I think that with that, stories that are passed down, the oral tradition, people like to say that stuff is modified, or like the written tradition is superior to the oral tradition because like XYZ, it's concrete or whatever. But what people don't realize about the oral tradition is that our experiences shape that history, right? They shape how we portray the story, and then it also shapes how people receive the story, which is more important to me than the written tradition, and why I believe it has more influence. But yeah, so through that education, that's the most important thing.
Let me ask you, because we talk about Le Ballet Africain and the National Dance Theater, but part of that was a storytelling function. Talking about how even the empires associated with your people came into being through military conquest or military defense against, for as long as it withstood itself against the French incursion and colonialism,
right?
And then the overturning that French and colonial, like that's warrior stories. How important are those stories as a part of the cultural tradition of your people?
Well, they're crucial, and the thing is, sometimes they're not even like directly. It's not even directly stated at times, right? Like that's what I'm saying. It manifests itself through oral traditions. There are so many stories that demonstrate that, this warriorhood. And it doesn't even have to be like this direct. Like Ahmed Sekou Touré, he claims descendancy from one of those great warriors that held off the French, and he sticks to that, right? But that's kind of demonstrated through multiple stories, right? Especially children's stories. I grew up listening to those kinds of stories growing up, so.
Well, I thank you, my sister, for your input. And again, I just think when you lose rites of passage, when you lose your societies and your warrior societies, Sierra Leone has the Portal Society that gives us who we call Joseph St. Q. Sierra Leone, I think Musu reminds us of Sembe Pie. They're the same person. The Amistad, that story is because that leader is a product of a portal society, which is a manhood, warriorhood, cultural. So that ethos then leads people to that kind of resistance. Mm-hmm. But when you take that away and you begin to say, you turn the other cheek, thou shalt not stand in your integrity, thou shalt not, so you begin to sap away what is a purpose calling. Mm-hmm. And we need that spirit, that energy, that presence now. But we as a people here, at least for the last easily 70 years, have been told that kind of warriorhood, that kind of manhood is negative. Right. When everybody else knows that that's the backbone of your society, of your culture, of your people. If your people are going to be protected, they're going to be protected by warriors. Mm-hmm. If you want to know why black people are unprotected right now in these streets we call America, it's because we sap the spirit of our warriorhood. So we got to get back on track, my people. So Sister Ngaki, I thank you for joining in. If you could now for me play Dance of the Orisha, which is when Fela encounters his mother, and then hopefully after that, Rain, which is his mother's counsel to him to stand in his warriorhood.
Got it. No problem.
Sange luma sene bereke sangali make mande soronso
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Announcing the Black Words Book Club.
WURD Radio's new monthly conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for February is Long Time Coming, Reckoning with Race in America by Michael Eric Dyson, a New York Times bestseller that traces the roots of racism from slavery and Jim Crow to police brutality. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, February 9th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit WURDradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color. Groundings
with Brother Shamari.
Right now on WURD Radio
and WURDradio.com.
And welcome back to Groundings with me, Brother Shamari, on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Welcome back. What I want to do, I got a lot to do in this segment, so I'm going to ask everybody to bear with me. And also, if you're on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, please continue. I really want to know how you see us affirming Black warriorhood in these days and times. Warriorhood, not protesthood, not whining hood. Sorry, no offense, not reparation hood. I ain't getting into that kind of warriorhood. How do you see our people creating spaces and places, intentionality and processes that affirm and cultivate African Black warriorhood? Please hit me up. We don't have time for your phone calls on that matter, but I definitely want you to continue to answer that question, because that's actually the question that I asked our listening audience. It's a real question. It's not rhetorical. So let's go to D. Let me see where D is from before I get back on my phone line. Actually, I don't know. So, D, greetings. How are you?
Quickly as possible, Brother Shamari, Sister Inglakia, Worldwide WURD and Lomax families, and special kudos to Sarah Lomax Reese and the WURD producers and hosts who have kept us informed and grounded and connected during the multitude of pandemics we are currently confronting. WURD listeners, get your membership and keep this information and elevation coming. Brother Shamari, your tribe is listening and understanding the urgency and essence of what you are speaking and teaching, and this is not the time to take our foot off the warriorhood pedal, as others are already reshaping our narrative. And despite the fact that we did the heavy lifting in the 2020 elections, we now see our leaders falling in line to diminish the fact and justify that we must now become diverse and get back in line when it comes to receiving the benefits of our hard work. And it's time for this nonsense to stop, cease, and desist. I think you have the right insight and spirit, and we must press our warriors into battle. We love you, Brother Shamari. We understand the heart and essence of everything you're saying, and should we not heed it, we shall perish. We've already been put to the back of the line with this new diversity nonsense where any and everybody who doesn't look like us falls in first place, and we get put to the back of the line as ever and ever. We need to understand the lessons of history. If we do not understand that we are right back now into the Black Code periods, if we do not understand that the former occupant of the White House is in his glory because the same funds, and this is less about a health pandemic than it is about reshaping the economy. And if we do not put ourselves in the front of the line this time, we will be forever relegated to the back. We need warriorship. We need it now, and we don't need to ask for it nicely. It's been 400 years. We love you very much. You just keep this message coming. We love you.
Appreciate it, Mama D, and that's y'all know it. When your grand elders and your grandparents and particularly the queen mothers call you to war, and that's why I love the song Rain. It's like, yo, brothers, particularly brothers. I'm not saying only the brothers are the warriors, but we got a crisis of black man warriorhood. We just do, and that's why our blood is running in the street, because it's a crisis. It has to be spiritually resurrected and redirected, and that the queen mothers need to make that call. Like, it's because that's the same energy that sat it down. That's that mammy energy, the counter energy. And that energy has to be revitalized. And no, brother, that's not your calling. That's not where we need you. Get up off your knees, get up off your back, get up off your stomach, get up off your face, get up, stand up. You have a war and a purpose to win, not just engage in, to win. Black life, liberation, independence, freedom, and empowerment is your duty and obligation. And anything else is unworthy and needs to stop being praised in our communities. Dave, New World View, are you there? What's coming up next if you are, my brother?
Brother Shamari, how are you doing today?
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. Peace and black power.
I don't know if it's time for peace yet, but I'll go with the black power part.
All right. Well, when we accomplish black power, we have plenty of peace.
That's right. We got to put the black power first, though.
So, listen, tonight we have a very special program lined up for New World View from 8 to 11 p.m. We have my business partner and co-host Michael A. Griffin, CEO of Ashanti Produce and Honorary Consulate General to Namibia. He will be calling in tonight all the way from Ghana, West Africa, to do his segment, Africa Matters segment. And then in the 10 o'clock hour, we finally got Patrick and Jadu back on the radio with us live with his Afrobeat after party. But I wanted to let you know, I really appreciate you playing the Fela music, because I thought that Fela Broadway musical was the best entertainment I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, I'm with you, my brother.
As a matter of fact, we did a promotional partnership with the Broadway musical when they were in New York, and they gave us so many tickets. I must have went up there 5 times to see the Broadway musical itself.
Well, I wish I knew you back then, brother, because I definitely would have been hitting you up. Because I agree with you. That's one of those experiences, man. You leave empowered. You leave really empowered just by being in that experience.
It was.
I didn't feel like that with one night in Miami.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. But listen, I'm excited about tonight's program, and I really appreciate your program as well.
Thank you, my brother. That is David Barnes. He comes up right after us, so keep your dial locked right here, 96.1 FM, 900 AM for the New World View. We're going to hear a closing story from Pop Pop Know Something, and then after that, Sister Ngaki is going to play one of my favorite songs from Fela Broadway, Rain, where his mother, Queen Mother, admonishes him to step into his warriorhood. No excuses. Pop Pop, take it away.
715, 715, that was the number. That was the number. Pop Pop grows something. After listening to Shamari, Pop Pop knows something. And what I know is that when Hank Aaron hit 715, 715 home runs at that point of his career, and he wasn't finished, the first person that he hugged was his mother. I said, wow, that is deep. His mother came out and he hugged his mother, because what I learned tonight was that it's the mother that whispers in the nation's ear That's your first teacher, the mother. That's what the Africans say. That's what our ancestors say. Our first teacher is our mother. I'm working on a story now about Nat Turner. But Nat Turner's mother, what did Nat Turner's mother say to Nat Turner? The same thing Brother Shamari said to us. You got a mission. Don't forget your mission. You are a warrior, Nat Turner, and your name ain't Nat Turner, so don't go for it. His mother must have told him that. So what I'm saying, elevations and evolutions, is that mother. Whisper in your son's ear. Mothers, whispers in your daughter's ear. Tell them the truth of who they are so they won't be co-opted up ahead, so that they won't be brainwashed up ahead, so that they'll know the truth of our legacy and who we are and the visions of our future. Peace.
People all they fear too much. We fear for the things we no see. We fear for the air around us. We all have reason to fear.
Fella, you have come all this way to ask for my blessing, but I refuse to give you permission to use what happened to me as your excuse to run away. Are you ready to listen now? Obalogun, 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 the fiercest warrior to ever live. Fought the Alukopobon, demons who kill with their cries. Their cries, their terrible cries. Monsters that kill with their terrible cries. In their fury, the Alukopobon, Pubon, Alukopobon, Pubon, Alukopobon, Pubon. Shook their manes and charged. But Obalogun, no run. He stuffed his ears with dirt, and loading the demons into his arms, he burst into flame, cleansing the earth. Yeah, Maya, yeah, Maya, yeah, Maya. When the mother of the gods, yeah, Maya, saw her son burst to flame, she cried tears of loss, tears of pride. Oh, how she cried. Maya. Tears turn to rain. Flooded the earth. So fair battles rage. Let the demons cry. Let the mothers weep. Let the bullets fly. Even if you must die, go back to where you belong. Let the battles rage. Let the demons cry. Let the fires burn. Let the water rise. Even if you must die, stand strong, never run. Let the battles rage. Let the demons cry. Let the heavens weep. Let tomorrow come. Let the rain
This is a rhythm, a warrior's rhythm, victorious rhythm, a glorious rhythm. Yahoo, Yahoo, you hear it, you feel it, it's there in the spirit, it's there in the lyric, don't ever compare it. Yahoo, Yahoo, the beat of the cradle, defeating the label, the people are able to eat at the table now. Yahoo, divided by cheddar, we gotta get better, united together, we tighter than ever now. Yahoo, forgotten, forsaken, forever mistreated, debated, disputed, but never defeated. No hate, no more venom, we straight with the rhythm. We celebrate rhythm, we elevate rhythm. The beautiful rhythm, the powerful rhythm. We chant to the rhythm, we dance to the rhythm. The beautiful rhythm, the powerful rhythm. We chant to the rhythm, we dance to the rhythm. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. This is a rhythm, a warrior's rhythm, victorious rhythm, a glorious rhythm. Yahoo, Yahoo, you hear it, you feel it, it's there in your spirit, it's there in the lyric, don't ever compare it. Yahoo, don't ever compare it. Yahoo, don't ever compare it. The beat of the cradle, defeating the labels, the people are able to eat at the table. Yahoo, Yahoo, divided by cheddar, we gotta get better, united together, we tighter than ever. Yahoo, Yahoo, forgotten, forsaken, forever mistreated, debated, disputed, but never defeated. No hate, no more venom, we straight with the rhythm. We celebrate rhythm, we elevate rhythm. The beautiful rhythm, the powerful rhythm. We chant to the rhythm, we dance to the rhythm. The beautiful rhythm, the powerful rhythm. We chant to the rhythm, we dance to the rhythm. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
As a business owner, hiring and developing people from the community that your company serves is one of the best ways to show commitment to that community. Let WURD Radio help with Livelihood, our new initiative that connects Philadelphians with companies like yours. We'll feature your business, open employment opportunities, and resources to connect your company with talent and ensure that you reach your target demographic. To learn more about how Livelihood can help you build your team, visit wordworks.com. That's WURD works.com. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
With everything going on, there may be times you feel like you can't handle it all. Journaling, meditating, and talking with friends and family can help you feel more grounded and better able to cope. Your kids are also going through a lot of new experiences, and simply talking with them about their feelings can be quite powerful.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting wordradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter.
WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation as we continue to navigate the pandemic together.
Hi, this is Halana, your resident health and wellness coach with tips to help you stay well. We breathe every day and have been doing so since before we were born. But wait, let's think about this for a moment. Something as simple as breathing can enhance our health and well-being. When we breathe mindfully, we slow down, take deep breaths, and activate our parasympathetic system to relax our bodies. Mindful breathing goes like this. Number 1, find a comfortable place to sit still for a few minutes. Number 2, close your eyes and relax your hands on your thighs. Number 3, take a deep breath in and count to 3. Then exhale your breath and count to 3. Do this 5 times. We sometimes think mindful breathing has to be an intense experience, yet even just a few minutes a day can make a big difference. Go ahead and try it today. Stay well with WURD. Happy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Independent Black Media.
The views and opinions expressed by the guests, listeners, and hosts of any program on WURD Radio do not necessarily reflect those of ownership, management, or advertisers of this station.
We the Africans will continue to unite, because we are sure by right that the spirit of righteousness shall manifest. Our future lies under African skies. Yes. All mental scars will be dissolved under African stars. Our future on African skies, yes. When kingdoms fall, empires rise on the African skies. 400 million and more could not go wrong. When we are united, we'll be so strong to move any mountain. technology of knowledge was superior. Then they came and took us to the Western Hemisphere, scattered us abroad, leaving us in despair. Our future lies under African skies. Our mental scars will be dissolved under African stars. Our future lies under African skies. When kingdoms fall, empires rise under African skies. We are God's children.
Yeah, monks on rum.
She want to dance it, maybe my way, baby I'll wait, come right away. Body so for me that I wanna feel me. She want to dance it, Monday to Sunday. I'll be waiting and waiting all my life. Yeah, I don't mind, I'ma wait for you all night. Come to my condo. Come to my condo. I know you really, really want to. Come to my condo. Come to my condo. I know you really, really want to. Come to my condo. She wants something, something. I want something, something. Early morning. Feel it coming. Body so for me that I wanna feel it. Maybe we tango. My shaggy, my cuckoo. I'll be waiting and waiting all my life. Yeah, I don't mind, I'ma wait for you all night. Come to my condo. Hey, condo. Come to my condo. I know you really, really want to. Come to my condo. Hey, condo. Come to my condo. I know you really, really want to. Come to my condo.
And good evening, everyone out there. And good evening, everyone out there. WURD land, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware, Ghana, Nigeria, Liberia, Senegal, and all of y'all. I'm David Barnes, photo man for you too, and I'm your host on this Michael A. Griffin Africa Matters edition of New World View. That's right, you and me, right here, the only place to be. 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live worldwide at WURDradio.com.
Baby, come to my condo. Oh, hey. Condo, hey. Come to my condo. I know you really